Now at 9, new details tonight about a deadly police shooting in Ogden.
After an officer was injured and the suspect killed at an apartment complex in Ogden, police give us the identity of the suspect and the details leading up to that situation.
Well, chances for rain not going away, but not everyone will see the rain. Who gets hit? We'll let you know in the forecast.
After one of the longest and busiest ski seasons ever, people are coming together to keep Big Cottonwood Canyon clean.
I'm an innocent man. I did nothing wrong.
Tonight, we know the criminal charges former President Trump is facing, plus what was allegedly being stored inside his Florida estate after leaving office.
The Special Olympic Summer Games are in full swing, and I was there as the athletes kicked it off tonight.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Chapman.
And I'm Bob Evans. We are learning new details tonight about a deadly officer-involved shooting at an Ogden apartment complex where a man was killed and a police officer wounded.
Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi was there as police explained what led up to the shooting.
A situation that escalated quickly in a quiet Ogden apartment complex. A woman called dispatch saying a man who police say was 37-year-old Brian Simonton was violating a protective order she had against him and that he had a gun.
Was at her apartment, acting strange, acting as if he wanted to kill himself or wanted to be killed.
Ogden City Police Chief Eric Young explained an officer arrived on scene and found Simonton in the parking lot with the weapon.
The officer issued verbal commands to Simonton to drop the weapon repeatedly, even calling him by name and asking him to drop the weapon. Simonton did not comply and ultimately raised the handgun and pointed at the officer and fired.
7 more officers arrived on scene.
We had officers anywhere from officers who just barely completed their training to officers who have almost 25 years of experience.
And shot multiple times at Simonton.
Once he was out of reach of the weapon, officers approached Simonton and found he'd sustained significant injuries from the gunfire.
Simonton did die at the scene. In the exchange of gunfire, an officer was shot.
And a round struck the original responding officer in the lower arm and traveled up through his arm into his upper arm and struck him in the chest.
That officer is back home from the hospital.
He's in good spirits. It is a significant injury. We expect he'll make a full recovery at some point, but it's going to be a matter of, it's going to be a drawn-out process. There's quite a bit of damage done.
There were several separate warrants out for Simonton's arrest, including one for charges of domestic violence assault and another for various weapons charges. I spoke to residents of the apartment complex who did not want to go on camera, but told me they feel traumatized following the shooting. Chief Young says he is glad no one else was hurt.
Yeah, we feel very fortunate that that nobody else was injured by the suspect's actions.
Chief Young says it's unclear whose bullet hit the officer, but he does believe that it was Simonton's. He said we should be able to get more answers as the Weber County Attorney's Office continues their critical incident investigation. During the time of that, all 8 officers are on administrative leave. In Ogden, I am Maithili Gubi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
We're learning more about a rescue operation to save a cliffed-out base jumper in Little Cottonwood Canyon yesterday. Salt Lake County Sheriff's Search and Rescue says the man was trying to climb to the ridge separating Little Cottonwood Canyon from Bell's Canyon and then base jump into Bell's Canyon. They say he started at 5 a.m. and had no extra clothing and no headlamp with him. The rockfall hazard was significant enough that the DPS helicopter needed to hoist him and all the rescuers off the mountain.
A 22-year-old Utah man has been found dead in Florida. The Martin County Sheriff's Office says Maxwell Roberts went missing while freediving and spearfishing with friends in an area called Sandsprit Park this morning. His body was found at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Authorities say there were no visible signs of trauma or injury. Robert's family is now on the way to South Florida to make arrangements.
A woman driving an SUV crashed through the front of an Allstate insurance office in Tooele today. Happened at 3:45. Tooele police say the driver was a 76-year-old woman who was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Her 72-year-old male passenger also suffered minor injuries, but he was not hospitalized. No one in the building was hurt. The cause of the crash is still under investigation.
National Park Service fire investigators have finished their review of the Wahweap Marina fire just last week. They say the source of the fire is undetermined, but does appear to be accidental. The Park Service says they used eyewitness photos and video in their investigation. The area has since reopened.
Today, a 3rd District Court jury convicted Brandon Bo Warren of the murders of Stephen Chambers and Shelley Brown in Magna in August of 2015. After a 9-day trial and hours of jury deliberations, the jury convicted Warren of 2 counts of first-degree felony murder and 4 counts of first-degree felony discharge of a firearm with serious bodily injury. Sentencing is set for August 21st.
Authorities say a man was shot last night at a park in Ephraim, that's in Sanpete County. Ephraim police were called to Canyon View Park at about 10 o'clock last night after a fight between 2 adult men, with one of them shooting the other. The victim was taken to the Sanpete Valley Hospital. Police say his injuries are not life-threatening. The suspect is now in custody at the Sanpete County Jail, facing multiple felony charges. Well, the winter crowds in Big Cottonwood Canyon melted away with the snow.
But the remnants of the busy ski season have been revealed. Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree shows us how workers and volunteers spent this afternoon making the mountains a little more beautiful.
It's an annual tradition.
We realize how special it is to be able to operate a ski resort in a place like, Big Cottonwood Canyon. And it's been a busy winter here in the canyon, and with a lot of guests and a lot of skiers and a lot of snow, does come trash.
At this year's Canyon Cleanup Day, Solitude staff members and community members picked up trash and debris along Big Cottonwood Canyon Road, covering a larger portion of the road than in past years.
We picked up a lot of cans. We picked up a lot of beer cans, a lot of soda cans. We picked up a lot of toilet paper. We picked up a lot of plastic, taillights, headlights.
Solitude plans to start its summer activities in less than a week, but with snow still on the mountains and rainy, cold weather persisting, some days it still feels like winter.
With the snow we've had, that's made things a little bit more complicated, but it is melting quick.
Canyon resident Valerie Carroll says it's upsetting to see what people litter.
We wish people weren't throwing things out their window, and we wish they were bringing them home. We pick up a lot of baby diapers, things you think you would bag and take home with you.
Even though they can't pick up every piece of trash, Travis Hollins says the people who care about the canyon will always try to keep it pristine for everyone to enjoy.
We want to make sure we're doing our part to keep this canyon clean for everybody.
In Big Cottonwood Canyon, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, the snow melts, the water comes down, and it looks like we're having some pretty good luck, at least with no flooding significantly so far.
You couldn't actually set up a situation weather-wise here over the past couple of months to really make this situation just ideal. Yeah, May we had above average temperatures, but not too warm, kind of near 80 degrees, where that brings the water down. Yeah, flowing high, but we haven't had much concern. And here in June, to start things off, we've been looking at temperatures still around average, but throughout the afternoon, when we get this cloud cover here throughout northern central Utah, that's also helping the situation where we're kind of suppressing those afternoon highs. But I want to share a photo coming up on our Facebook page, starting the morning off. Silver Lake, beautiful start to the day. A few high clouds around. Look at that water, just so still. Yeah, looking at Big Cottonwood Canyon, you're trying to look off in the distance to see how much snow is up there. We really have done a good job bringing the snow down from Big Cottonwood Canyon. Still a little bit more to go, though, for Little Cottonwood Canyon, as we'll be keeping an eye on that here over the next week or so. We really are almost out of the woods here as it pertains to the flooding situation, where it's the upper elevation snowpack that we're concerned with. All right, let's talk about what we're seeing right now. Oquirrh Mountain camera. Yeah, a few clouds around. We've had a few isolated showers and some thunderstorms, particularly across northern, northwestern and west central Utah. As highs today, slightly above average, 80s from Logan through Salt Lake City. Almost got up to 80 degrees in Provo, at least the airport there. Looks like the high today in Vernal, 82, 77 in Price, upper 80s in Moab, and we didn't even make up into the 90s in St. George. People have not been complaining about the temperatures here over to start the first half of June now. As we take a look through central Utah, a few isolated showers. We push further north, we could potentially see a few showers still. Utah County tracking over towards Wasatch Summit County, but things will be dying off here in just a little bit. So overnight, we are expected to see conditions clearing. We wake up with the sunshine, but do we see a return of those showers? We'll look at that coming up in just a bit.
The latest federal indictment against former President Donald Trump has been unsealed. We'll break down the slew of charges he's facing for his handling of classified documents.
A huge 2 days for American politics. Coming up, an in-depth look at Utah's political circumstance in light of support for Donald Trump and drawing of congressional districts that may divide communities of color.
Birders flocked to the area just outside the Fox 13 News studios today. I found out what they were enthralled with.
Smith Ballpark is home to Major League Baseball's Play Ball Weekend. Hear from the Bees GM and major leaguers on how important this event was for Salt Lake City.
"37 charges, including violations of the Espionage Act. That's what former President Donald Trump is now facing after a federal grand jury indicted him.
The indictment was unsealed today. Mr. Trump is facing multiple criminal counts following an investigation into classified documents being stored at his Florida home.
And we're learning more about exactly what materials he held on to after leaving office in 2021. Scripps national political correspondent Ava Joy Bennett has the latest on the former president's second indictment.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
Special Counsel Jack Smith speaking publicly after unsealing the indictment against former President Donald Trump, who now faces dozens of federal charges.
Our laws that protect national defense information are critical to the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced.
The nearly 50-page indictment alleges multiple instances of Trump directing aides to move stacks of boxes containing classified national security information on key allies and storing them in multiple rooms throughout his Mar-a-Lago home in Florida, including in a shower. The indictment includes a transcript of a taped conversation between Trump, a staff member, and a book publisher, where Trump allegedly presented a sensitive military document and then admitted to not declassifying it. The documents outline nuclear programs and weapons capabilities of key allies. The indictment follows a years-long investigation by the Justice Department, which was originally triggered by a referral from the National Archives. The special counsel accuses the former president of keeping sensitive documents and taking steps to hide them from investigators. Trump says he's innocent.
I'm an innocent man. I did nothing wrong. And we will fight this out just like we've been fighting for 7 years.
Trump is expected to appear at a federal courthouse in Miami, Florida next Tuesday. The special counsel is aiming for a speedy trial. Ava Joy Burnett, Scripps News, Washington.
News of the Trump indictment comes one day after a historic Supreme Court decision about congressional districts.
Fox 13 News anchor Max Roth takes an in-depth look tonight at Utah's political landscape in light of the two stories.
In congressional and presidential elections, Utah's voting patterns are often predictable, but not always. And it's the ways that Utah veers away from red state stereotypes that makes things interesting. George W. Bush with 70% of Utah's vote, John McCain 65, Mitt Romney 72. Then Donald Trump 45% and 58%. A win is a win for the person running, but for the rest of Utah's GOP, Donald Trump's wins were the narrowest of the century. But that's mostly because of Utah's increasingly blue center in its most populous county. Geographically, Utah was as red for Donald Trump as for any previous Republican candidate. Whoever becomes the Republican presidential nominee, including Trump, probably won't worry about Utah. But the Utah party may worry about the Alabama Supreme Court ruling. There are big differences between Alabama and Utah. Alabama has a 27% black population. Utah's biggest minority, Hispanics or Latinos, is 15%, though 23% of our neighbors are from ethnic and racial minorities. Still, with 7 congressional districts, it's hard for Alabama to justify excluding such a large group. Utah has 4 districts and is more than 3/4 white still. And Utah's current litigation is focused on this, a political partisan division shown here in the 2020 presidential voting in Salt Lake County. You see the obvious, strong concentration of hundreds of thousands of Democratic voters in Utah's 2 biggest cities of Salt Lake and West Valley, and in their satellites. The cities and townships in what you might call this blue zone add up to the population of a congressional district plus a few thousand. But federal law is most concerned about diluting the influence of what the Voting Rights Act of 1965 calls people of color, not parties. A lawsuit in Utah right now is not directly about that, but the Alabama precedent may apply in the future because the blue zone is also Utah's biggest zone of diversity. 34% of people in the zone cities belong to racial or ethnic minorities. That information is clear in this map the Salt Lake Tribune made using census data. The two maps show Utah's minorities and its minority party are divided in four in the place where the most have chosen to live. After the 2030 census, Utah is likely to get a 5th congressional district. And that, combined with stronger Supreme Court precedent, may make it harder to draw lines cutting Utah's Democratic and minority strongholds in 4 or 5 parts. In studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, if you've got weekend plans, you better plan to have some alternative plans indoors. A little bit, I would imagine.
Yeah, we've got some, I don't want to say changes. We're kind of holding on to this pattern, which here across northern Utah, each afternoon we get the clouds, we get those chances of rain showers and some thunderstorms. We're going to be holding on to that threat, less of a threat on Saturday. But as we turn towards Sunday, yeah, we're going to be pumping up the moisture and bringing in some rain showers and some thunderstorms once again. Now today, throughout the afternoon, a few isolated showers. We reached a high of 84 degrees in Salt Lake City. You can see on average we should be in the low 80s. Look at the record set back in 1973, triple digits. We know we can get those triple digits in June. This has been a great start to the month of June. Temperature-wise, many people saying to me, oh, we love it, especially late afternoon into the evening as temperatures cooling off to go out for a walk. And that's what we find right now, where you've got low 70s from Salt Lake City through Provo. Overnight temperatures dip down into the upper 50s. Let's talk about the pollen count situation, where some of the rain helping out. Trees, grass low, weeds not. It's high categories, so that might be one of the reasons why your eyes are itching and having the sniffles there. And of course, with additional moisture, mold in the moderate category. Now, speaking of water and what we're going to expect as we look at the watering guide, and this is the recommendation on how many times you should be watering your lawn. It's twice here along the Wasatch Front through central, and eastern Utah. Once, though, for Tooele County, you're beginning a little bit more rain. As we look in Wasatch County, up through Morgan, Rich, Cache County, we're just looking at once. Summit County, though, no need to water your lawn because, yeah, we've been getting the rain, particularly over the mountains with those afternoon showers and some thunderstorms. But what about the chances of rain moving forward? St. George, it continues on. Hardly any threat. You're dry through the weekend, and this is going to be the situation here over the next several days. Northern Utah, we just don't change things up, except we will actually increase the threat, especially as we go into Sunday, Monday through Wednesday. We've got a little low-pressure system bringing a cool front and a lot of moisture, and that'll keep the threat of those scattered showers, which will be the situation, yeah, for northern Utah, Wasatch Front, down through central Utah. Now, as we look currently, things are dying off with those isolated showers, still holding on to a little bit of a band of showers that have been tracking through, even some thunderstorm activity through Spanish Fort Canyon, moving further northward. That will begin to dissipate, but rain potentially expected here that could spill over into the Salt Lake Valley with just more light rain here over the next hour or so. But things improving in the overnight hours. Moisture still in place for tomorrow. So like today, where we saw more isolated shower threat or an isolated thunderstorm, that'll be the case tomorrow for northern central Utah and even into the mountains. Let's take a look at our computer models. We've got the clock here tonight. Again, overnight things tapering off. We wake up with a lot of sunshine, but once we get into the afternoon, we start to see those isolated showers pop up. Not as much activity. You're not seeing a lot of yellow or red or orange, which would indicate some thunderstorm activity. Overnight, we might see some brief rain showers, southern end of the Wasatch Front, but Sunday, a lot more moisture. You can see, oh, there you go. Chances of those afternoon showers even more widespread here as we go into Sunday. That'll be the case heading into Monday as well. So for tonight, showers dying off. We're down to the 50s for many locations. Highs tomorrow like we saw today. So it's almost a carbon copy, a repeat of what we had here today across the state, where for St. George, you're staying dry. 90s to 80s, a little bit cooler. Then we're back into the 90s. We keep it dry here with a lot of sunshine. Northern Utah, 80s to mid 80s. Then that cool front hits that brings scattered rain showers Monday through Tuesday. 70s all throughout next week. So we're cooling off even more so, and we'll get the rain to go along with it. A better chance of Mother Nature watering your lawn.
We're just really happy that it, ended up the way it did.
Coming up, what worked with flooding prevention this year to avoid a repeat of 1983. Brett kind of just explained a little bit of it, but we're going to take a closer look.
And passport processing delays are persisting. What Utah's congressional delegation is doing to fix the problem.
And we'll explain how technology played a big role in first responders saving the lives of 2 people after a fiery crash in southern Utah overnight. We'll be right back.
In southern Utah, an incredible story of survival after an Apple Watch alerted authorities to the scene of a bad car wreck overnight.
Technology hard at work there for a good reason. Dameron Valley Fire and Rescue says just after 2 a.m., they were dispatched to a crash on SR 18 in Diamond Valley. While en route, crews were notified that a passerby had stopped to report that a car had rolled and caught on fire with 2 people trapped inside. More crews were called, and eventually a Washington County Sheriff's Sergeant arrived and was able to team up with the Good Samaritan to get the driver out of that burning car. The passenger was able to get out on their own. Both were taken to St. George Regional Hospital in critical condition. The cause of the accident is under investigation.
Also in southern Utah, the Harmony Ridge fire near New Harmony is now fully contained. Crews will monitor it for the next couple of days. Officials credit the quick response from local, state, and federal resources with keeping the fire from spreading. There was no impact to the nearby RV park or homes. Now that nearly all creeks and rivers in Utah have reached their peak water levels, it seems we've avoided what could have been a repeat disaster of flooding in 1983.
Thank goodness we escaped this. The director of Salt Lake County's Flood Control Division says there was a huge potential for major flooding, which is why he says teams started preparing all the way back in February.
So we got on top of getting snow bags, sand, and then leaned really far forward to getting emergency contractors in place to help clear debris once the snow had melted.
He says the new infrastructure put in place 30 years ago and improved technology to track and predict water levels made them more prepared. Now, as long as the weather conditions stay on the cooler side in the upcoming weeks, they say we should still be in the clear.
Brian Redd, Acting Executive Director of the Department of Corrections.
Utah's about to get a new prisons chief. We'll tell you what's on his resume and what's not.
It's the start of the Special Olympics Summer Games.
Go out and have fun and meeting new friends.
I joined the athletes at the opening ceremony tonight in West Valley City.
It's a rare creature not seen in Utah for nearly a decade, but a sighting brought the birders right here to the Fox 13 News studios. What was spotted flying from tree to tree.
Game 4 of the NBA Finals between the Nuggets and the Heat. Can Miami get back in the win column?
Next week, the Utah Senate will consider whether to confirm Brian Redd to lead the Utah Department of Corrections.
Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle has been covering problems at Utah's prisons, and he's been asking, why did the governor select a man who has never worked in a jail or prison?
Brian Redd, Acting Executive Director of the Department of Corrections, first week on the job.
This was Brian Redd introducing himself last month to legislators. The formal confirmation hearing is scheduled for Monday.
After doing a little bit of research and speaking with Director Redd, or soon-to-be Director Redd, I support it.
Molly Prince is one of the founders of the Utah Prisoner Advocate Network. It provides a voice for inmates and their families.
Before Brian Redd even took his position, he reached out to some advocacy groups and wanted to know what issues we saw that we would like addressed.
Here's what's on Redd's resume. He spent 21 years at the Utah Department of Public Safety, working his way from highway trooper up to one of the top administrators in the department. He spent the last 2 years at Goldman Sachs, and he has a master's degree in public administration from BYU. What's not on his resume? He's never worked in corrections. Last month, Fox 13's Max Roth asked Governor Spencer Cox,
why him? This was not a quick decision. We worked very closely with Brian over the course of many years in his former capacity with the Department of Public Safety. I assure you, doing a national search would not have returned anybody with the capacity and the qualifications of Brian Redd.
Some states have conducted national searches for corrections directors, including in Mississippi, where in 2020 the governor went outside his state to find someone to lead a prison system said to be in crisis. That word has been used to describe Utah's prisons, including the new billion-dollar penitentiary in Salt Lake City. Recent audits found problems providing health care to inmates and in the way Utah monitors probationers and parolees. The department has struggled to hire and keep employees of all sorts and needs about 300 more officers in the state's 2 prisons.
We're short dental staff, we're short medical staff, we're short staff everywhere. And inmates get tired of hearing that as an excuse.
Redd declined an interview request. One of his last jobs at the Department of Public Safety was helping oversee Operation Rio Grande, designed to address homelessness in Salt Lake City. Like in a prison, the operation had punitive and service components.
Was it perfect? No. But was it a good model to continue to work off of? I believe so.
I think he gets this, is that you need to know what's actually happening down in the trenches if you're going to make good decisions up at the top.
I want to acknowledge also the responsibility that we do have to do everything we can to help those individuals be successful while they're in our supervision and then once they get back out to their homes and families.
Utah has 6,000 prison inmates and thousands of more people on probation or parole. At the state prison in Salt Lake City, Nate Carlisle, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, the Utah Library Association is responding to the Davis District removing the Bible from elementary and middle schools. The district's decision came after a parent challenged the King James Version of the Bible under a state law prohibiting sensitive materials in schools. A committee deemed the Bible should only be in high school libraries, quote, based on age appropriateness due to vulgarity or violence. That decision is now being appealed and sparked a protest at the state capitol on Wednesday. Today, on Twitter, the Utah Library Association posted a link to a petition and wrote, quote, it seems like the pulling of the Bible from Utah schools has led to some broad agreement that we need to fix the law, so we're not pulling books under some watered-down definition of obscene.
If you're planning to travel internationally this year, you'll want to pay attention to this story. Passport delays could leave you grounded before you even take off. The State Department is so backed up on passport applications, it's leading to delays as long as 6 months.
We're just not doing well as a federal government in processing these. And on the other hand, we still have constituents that aren't checking far enough out. And we need to get the word out that the second you schedule that vacation, please check your passport and check that expiration date.
Utah's congressional delegation is pushing the State Department to open a passport office here in Salt Lake City to help Utahns and those in surrounding states.
Best party, meeting new friends, enjoying themselves.
The spirit of sportsmanship and determination on full display tonight. I'm going to take you to the Utah Special Olympics Summer Games opening ceremonies.
Looking forward to that story. I want to share a photo coming up on our Facebook page. Double rainbow, Saratoga Springs. To see the rainbow, you got to get the rain. Do we see that rain throughout the weekend? I'll let you know after the break.
More candidates are jumping into the race to replace Utah Congressman Chris Stewart.
Today, Scott Hatfield, R. Quinn Denning, and Remy Bubba Cush all filed for the Republican nomination. Now, they joined Becky Edwards, Bruce Huff, Greg Hughes, and January Walker. We could potentially see dozens of candidates by the time the filing period closes, which will be June 14th. Congressman Stewart is resigning to help his wife deal with an undisclosed health issue.
The Salt Lake City Council will take applications for a new council member. The application period is from this coming Monday to July 10th. After that, the entire council will interview the applicants and pick one by July 18th. Applicants must be registered voters living in Salt Lake City's District 7. This is for the spot to replace council member Amy Fowler, who is resigning from office after being arrested on suspicion of DUI.
Well, tomorrow is your last chance to enjoy a pop-up park in downtown Salt Lake City. This park is on 200 East between 300 and 400 South. It was an experiment for an urban oasis, and it's been pretty popular. In a video posted on Instagram, Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall says they've been asking people, and they say it's been a hit. The City Transportation Department and City Council will use the feedback to design a permanent installation. The mayor says it's part of an overall plan for more park spaces.
This one is just straight off course and got lost and just keeps going further and further west.
A rare woodpecker is spotted just outside the Fox 13 News studios in Salt Lake City. We'll talk to one of the birders who found it.
Game 4 of the NBA Finals just wrapped up. Highlights between the Heat and the Nuggets still to come in sports. And Major League Baseball's Play Ball weekend is taking over Smith's Ballpark. Youth players took the field today, and even some former pros helped out. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Determination, strength, and sportsmanship. Hundreds of athletes came together tonight in front of cheering fans for the Special Olympics Utah Summer Games opening ceremonies. I was there at Granger High School in West Valley City this evening when the torch entered the field to light the Special Olympic cauldron. There it is. There were motorcycles, dancing, and singing to mark the kickoff. Such a cool event. Just under 1,000 athletes of all ages with special needs will take part in cheerleading, swimming, track and field, and bowling competitions through tomorrow. And even though each athlete will be going for gold, they tell me it's more important to have fun, believe in yourself, and root on friends.
Go out and have fun and do some skills and keep going in your sports.
It's very amazing for lots of people to come and see this sport for a long time, for a very great tradition. Dream big. Go big or go home.
It's huge for them. They live for this kind of thing, and they love being together and being with people that are similar to them.
Go Special Olympics!
That's right. Oh my gosh, I had the best time out there, and I met so many awesome athletes. Can't wait for them to take part tomorrow in their sport. You can watch all the Special Olympic athletes in action tomorrow. It's taking place at Granger High School, so go cheer them on. They will love it.
What an incredible story, Kelly. Thank you so much for that. You know, I had something neat happen to me today. I became a birder. For the first, or most of this afternoon anyway, we had a steady stream of bird watchers out here at the Fox 13 News studios in the International Center, and there was a very rare red-headed woodpecker that apparently hasn't been seen in Utah since 2015. Here it is, right there. It was darting from tree to tree just outside the station, much to the delight of our new friends with cameras and binoculars. Tell me what's so unique about this kind of woodpecker.
It has a very bright red head, completely red on the top, and then a white breast, and then black wings. But that's a really unusual look for a woodpecker.
Is there any indication as to where it might have come from?
The East Coast, anywhere east of the Mississippi, that's where this particular bird is generally found.
And so to get to see this thing, you must feel pretty special.
We're delighted. It's the first time I've ever seen this bird.
Yeah, Carl and Debbie Hill are there. They say the word on this woodpecker is going out on ebird.com. At one point today, they thought several hundred birders may be out here at the International Center tomorrow looking for this very beautiful bird.
That is so
Isn't
cool.
that neat?
What a sight. When I went to the Special Olympics opening ceremonies this morning, when I was leaving around dinner time, there were still people out here.
Still people out there.
Looking in the trees.
Yeah. I went out just before the newscast, and I didn't see anybody out there, and it took a few minutes to see if I could find the bird, but no luck.
No more sightings?
No
Well,
luck.
maybe better luck tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
Ah, he's come a long way.
Long way. Well, trying to make it to the Fox 13 studios for good reason, right?
Yeah, right?
That is the mission there. We'll see if we can see him tomorrow. Well, we're going to see a chance of some showers moving through the weekend. Right now, things are quieting down. We didn't have a lot of activity, less than what we've seen over the past few days, but still holding on to a few isolated showers. Utah County moving over towards Wasatch County. Salt Lake City, some clouds. You're in the low 70s at this hour. Winds light, humidity about where it has been over the past couple of days. Gearing up for the weekend. Maybe in part of your plans, you want to head up to some of the reservoirs here across the state. Let's give you an update on water temperatures, where, as you can see, throughout most of northern Utah, you look at these reservoirs, the water temperatures low to mid 60s, except for Bear Lake, quite a bit colder there. Southern Utah, though, not bad at all. Sand Hollow, your current water temperature is 77 degrees. Now, I was boating last year during the month of June. Definitely was warmer. Of course, last year we had the hot summer. In addition, we had a lot more sun exposure through the month of June last year. This month, though, had a lot of cloud cover, especially throughout the afternoon, with these afternoon showers and thunderstorms that have been developing over the past several days. As we look for tomorrow from the Storm Prediction Center, where the possibility of those isolated thunderstorms still incorporating northern, central, northeastern Utah, looking across southern Utah. Oh, it's going to be dry. You got a lot of sunshine in your forecast. Thus, the flash flood potential reflecting for tomorrow, it's just not expected. Yeah, drier air in place across the south, but central northern Utah, we're not letting go of that upper level moisture, as we're still holding on to a few showers. Again, as mentioned, moving from Juab throughout portions of Utah County, spilling over in the mountains there, where Wasatch Summit County, you might see a little quick isolated shower as it pushes through. Then we kind of calm things down in the overnight hours. So for tomorrow morning, we're waking up to clear conditions, but a return of those isolated showers will be in the forecast for northern and central Utah. But this next storm system coming in, this will bring a cool front as we go Sunday into Monday. Better chance of seeing some rain as we look towards Sunday into the beginning of the work week. Let's take a look at our computer models, where, again, looking here, come tomorrow morning, not much going on throughout the afternoon. Like we saw today, it's mainly the mountains, through the mountains of central Utah. There will be some valleys that get into the mix, like throughout Tooele County. Also maybe expecting to see towards the southern end of the Wasatch Front, some early evening rain. But then what happens as we head into Sunday, it begins to fill out more. A better chance of seeing some widespread rain, even some scattered thunderstorms as we head into Sunday. More rain for Monday as well. But as I mentioned, for tonight, we're pushing away the clouds. We get the sunshine as we'll start off sunny. Afternoon clouds and those isolated showers here across northern Utah. You can see your high temperatures, where for St. George, we just don't have that threat of rain for the next several days. It gets a little cooler with that next cool front, dropping down into the 80s, and then we're back into the mid-90s by Wednesday and Thursday. Northern Utah, low 80s, better chance for rain Sunday, even some scattered thunderstorms. More rain Monday through Wednesday, isolated showers Thursday. All in all, temperatures will be below average next week, with highs only in the 70s.
Smiths Ballpark is home to over 1,000 youth players this weekend as a part of Major League Baseball's Play Ball Weekend. Now, the Salt Lake Bees hosted a baseball clinic today, with softball taking the field tomorrow. And today's clinic was the largest turnout ever in Salt Lake City. 500 players ages 5 to 12. Former Major League Baseball players, national champions, and current players and managers ran the clinic. And I spoke with Bees president and general manager Mark Amicone, and he said the goal is to show MLB how much Utah values baseball.
We just feel like we're the place to be great stewards for the game and for kids, and you know, what a better venue and a better place than to have all these kids right out here at Smiths Ballpark. We're going to show Major League Baseball how great of a job Salt Lake can do and blow everybody else out of the water.
And former major leaguer and Utah native John Buck told me that baseball is growing in the Beehive State, and that's all he's ever wanted to see. Plus, the Bees played tonight, and second baseman Preston Palmeiro said the kids' energy was contagious.
If you look out here, why am I here? We are hungry for baseball activities, camps, things in the state of Utah. We're having a problem of too many people here. The seeds that we plant now grow and get bigger, and to be a part of it in this capacity, why would you not want to come back to a play ball event?
It's a fun experience, get out here with these kids. Honestly, they're giving me life because I was a little tired this morning waking up, but the energy they have is special. So, I mean, it'll be fun, wrap this up. I'm sure some of these kids will be here tonight.
And the Bees opened a 3-game series tonight against the Round Rock Express. Now, they did fall short, 9-3 the final. They'll play again tomorrow night. First pitch at 6:35 p.m. And tonight was Game 4 of the NBA Finals. The Denver Nuggets lead the series 2-1 after winning on Miami's floor. But the Heat have a chance to tie it at home as we head to South Beach. While Jamal Murray and the Nuggets are looking to take control of this series. Game tied early. Murray kisses it off the glass for the bucket. And then a scary moment here. Nikola Jokic, he rolls his ankle and he would head to the locker room to get it looked at. Now 2 seconds left in the first quarter. Jimmy Butler getting buckets at the buzzer to take the lead for the Heat. But the Nuggets get rolling. Aaron Gordon draining his second 3 of the game. 27 points tonight. And then Jokic back out after that rolled ankle says, hey, I can do that too. Count it. How about a Bam slam? Check out Bam Adebayo throwing down as we head into the half. And then in the third, Gordon finds Murray to extend the Nuggets lead to double digits. And in the fourth, here's the dagger from Contavious Caldwell-Pope as the Nuggets take a commanding 3-1 series lead and they head back to Denver on Monday.
They've got to be feeling good going home.
Oh, yeah, and the Nuggets are playing lights out. It's like they just can do nothing wrong, really.
Well, it's good time to play your best basketball.
I know.
Yeah.
Well said.
The finals are a good time to do that.
Yeah, right?
You know?
Well said, you guys.
Thanks,
you should do my job.
We'll be right back.
You got to see this. Triplet moose. Meese? Moose. In Summit Park this week, Tiffany Quilter. Summit Park caught the babies on camera. She says the little ones are rambunctious. They were frolicking in puddles from the snow melt, having the zoomies, you know, where they run around.
Yeah.
Yes.
Utah Division of Wildlife Resources says while this is quite rare, they discourage people from getting too close. Last time moose triplets were spotted was in Canada in 2018.
Been a while. Mama's like, I'm going to lay here. You kids just stay in the grassy area right here.
And you humans stay away.
Have a great weekend. QuickCast is next.